I'd like to call to order the Canton Township Board of Trustees regular board meeting on January 28, 2025 at 7 o'clock p.m. Can we all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Clerk Seegers, can you please take roll call?
Trustee Ganguly.
Good evening.
Trustee Foster.
Good evening.
Let the record reflect that Clerk Segrist is in attendance and speaking. Supervisor Graham-Hudek.
Good evening.
Treasurer Slavens.
Good evening.
Trustee Borninski.
Good evening.
Trustee Ansari.
Hey, y'all.
All right, thank you. I have a motion to adopt the agenda, please?
Supervisor, I move to adopt the agenda as presented with no modifications.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Treasurer Slavens. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Adoption of agenda. We do not have any presentations tonight, or recognitions or resolutions. We don't have public hearing. So any board and commission reports from the board or staff? Kate?
Yes, I unfortunately wasn't able to make the last Leisure Services Advisory Committee meeting, but I understand that there's been a turnover in the officers, and Val Krimmer is now the president.
Cool.
And Greg, do you remember who's the vice president?
It's somebody new that we haven't had as a chairperson for.
Is it Barry?
Was it Barry?
Okay.
Barry.
How'd you know? Okay, thank you. Any
Wanted
others?
to update on that.
Summer?
We had our planning commission meeting last night where we voted on the final plan development district for Top Canton. And that vote went through the planning commission. We also had some discussion about the tree and woodland preservation ordinance, sign ordinance, and wireless telecommunications ordinance.
Very good. Thank you. Any others? Michael?
This is like a preliminary update that I have reached out to the Election Commission and asked them to begin the work of going through the 2024 election turnout data and some to start the work of doing new precinct boundaries. So we'll probably meet at least once. We have a meeting scheduled for next week, and then but potentially a few times to try to make some modifications to the precinct boundary maps. And there's a lot of potential benefits to that, but some other hard work that needs to be done. So we'll be doing that work and should have a new proposed map, hopefully, to the board this year, and potentially change voting locations for some folks as well, and that would require board approval. So we will more than likely have an RBA to the Board of Trustees by the end of our work.
Thank you. Tanya?
So 4 members of the Commission for Culture, Arts, and Heritage met yesterday again for their second meeting to work on the 50-year history project. And we are making some good progress, and we are hoping we will have a final plan in April.
Thank you. Anyone else? So the Sustainability Committee met. I'll just let everybody know an update. We had an update from a group called Make Food Not Waste, which we're probably going to have appear before the board here to give a presentation soon. We also are bringing on a Graham Institute fellow. They're going to help to create a food waste plan by May or June, which is funded by a grant, so that's really cool too. We're going to look at also, in the focus, you're going to start seeing hints on how to recycle some things like clothing and shoes and styrofoam, and we're going to have places for people to go in the community. In the Technology Committee, they're going to be having an apathon in May, And this one's a little bit different because they're going to service nonprofits. So nonprofits that need assistance with technical issues, the teams are going to basically compete to help them out. Okay. Great. All right. Next, we have public comment on agenda items only. Is there any public comment on agenda items only? Public comment? Nobody in the room. Let me check online. You can raise your hand if you're online. I don't see anyone online that is raising their hand. All right. Thank you. Next, we have approval of minutes.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the minutes from January 14th, 2025 as presented.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Brudzinski. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Now we have the bills.
Madam Supervisor, I motion that we pay the bills.
Support.
Motion made by Treasurer Slavin, supported by Trustee Brudzinski. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Now we have the consent calendar.
Hang on, you left me in the dust for a
sorry.
second there. That'll happen. That'll happen when we start doing this routine business sometimes. Sorry. Bills. Madam Supervisor, I move that the board adopt the consent calendar as presented. Item C1, request approval of 2025 blanket purchase orders. C2, request to purchase annual computer replacements. Item C3, consider a request to waive the bidding process and award a contract to Suburban Calcium Chloride Sales for the 2025 Dust Control Program for local gravel roads. And finally, item C4, consider awarding a contract and purchase order for carpet replacement at the Village Theater at Cherry Hill.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Foster. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Now we move on to the general calendar. G1, consider approval of a contract extension with HydroCorp Incorporated to continue Canton's residential cross-connection control program.
Madam Supervisor, I move that the board approve the 3-year professional services contract extension to HydroCorp to provide management services and inspections for the township's residential cross-connection control program for an amount not to exceed $476,201.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Treasurer Slavins. The Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy, EGLE, requires municipalities to provide a safe water supply system through an effective cross-connection control program. EGLE requires municipalities to inspect residential properties and submit annual reports for their programs. Canton Township's residential cross-connection control program is currently performed by Troy-based HydroCorp Incorporated. HydroCorp Incorporated has performed their contractual obligations and achieved the goals expected of the requested services. An extensive evaluation of the cross-connection inspection service has been performed, and it has been determined the best option for the township is to engage HydroCorp to continue the residential cross-connection control program. The Public Works Division is requesting to approve the contract until January 31st, 2028, for a total cost of $476,200.08. Only 2 companies perform this type of work throughout the state of Michigan, and HydroCorp performs work in southeast Michigan. In addition, HydroCorp also performs the township's commercial and industrial cross-connection program. Director Norwood, do you want to add anything?
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. I don't have anything to add, but happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the board or comments? Diane?
I might make just a quick comment, and it's just a reminder to residents who will be getting letters because I know my office tends to get a lot of phone calls because it has to do with water. And this is something that the state does require and needs to be done.
Michael?
Yeah, just for anybody who's new or anybody who's not maybe familiar with this, what obviously, so there's a state mandate that we do these cross connection programs, but can you talk about the merit of the programs and maybe some of the things that it's intended to solve for anybody who might not be aware of it?
Sure, I can speak to that. The program is inspection irrigation system. So your irrigation system on your residential property has a backflow preventer on the outside of your home. And these inspections will ensure that that's actually functioning. So you don't have stuff actually siphoning back into the water system if that backflow prevention should fail. So it protects their water that they get into their home by making sure nothing happens. For like a hose laying in a laundry sink or something, and it brings in something from a sink into the water system.
Okay, so protect the overall water system of everybody by
For all of
ensuring.
Canton, correct.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful.
Kate?
Yeah, Director Norwood, as you know, there have been some years when those letters went out quite late, and then the date on them was
Yeah.
that you had to get the work done was actually quite soon after the residents received the letters. Can we make sure that those letters go out in a
Yes.
timely fashion?
We will make sure that happens.
Okay.
John
and-
Selmy's on this one, yeah, from Public Works. Yes.
And I noticed that in the contract with HydroCorp, it mentioned that they would be helping with communications and education. So I think there's been a lot of confusion on this because it doesn't happen to everyone every year.
every
It rotates throughout
Yeah, every 5
the
years. yeah.
township, yeah, every 5 years. So if we could be sending out as much communication and education on this as possible,
Okay,
I would
will do.
appreciate it.
Anything else? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item G2, consider waiving the bidding process and approve the purchase of a new 2025 Caterpillar Model 303 SA excavator using the Sourcewell contract.
Madam Supervisor, I move to award a purchase order to Michigan Cat for the purchase of a new 2025 Caterpillar 303-SA excavator in the amount of $64,160.12.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Treasurer Slavens. Our Public Works staff operates and maintains the township's 460 miles of water main, 360 miles of sanitary sewer, multiple hydrants, valves, and other apertures in order to provide the necessary level of service. Larger construction equipment is necessary. As the township continues to build out, this excavator will allow for more effective and safe excavations. The new 2025 CAT 303 SA excavator is to be purchased from Michigan CAT, a sole source provider in Michigan. Public Works is moving to all CAT equipment due to its excellent quality and DPW operators and mechanics being familiar with CAT products. The new 2025 Caterpillar Model 303 SA excavator is to be purchased from Michigan CAT using Sourcewell contract number 017723-CAT. Director Norwood, do you want to add anything?
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. I don't have anything to add to this, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Tanya?
So Director Norwood, the older one will still be used, and as I just wanted for people who are listening to this as to what we are doing with the older.
Yeah, there's a couple passes this may take. We're going to be talking to Leisure Services to see if they need it for some of the parks maintenance. If not, we will be using, we saw this through Ranger bid through, it's a auction process that we've had some pretty good success lately.
And we are replacing a really old one, right? A
It is old,
22-year-old
yes.
one.
22 years old, yeah.
Any others? No? And this, this was a rough week too with our, how many water main breaks did we have this weekend?
Yeah, we had 7 today, 7 issues
Seven?
we are tackling today.
7
so.
today, wow.
It's a lot of water main breaks.
Jeez.
Yeah, we're trying to get it back to what we think happened, so. It wasn't our system, so it was something that impacted our system, so.
All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. G3, consider authorization of a purchase order to Fonzone Company Incorporated for improvements to the Heritage Park Maintenance Facility.
Madam Supervisor, I move to issue a purchase order to Fonson Company Incorporated for improvements to the Heritage Park Maintenance Facility in the amount of $1,313,928.29 and reprogram funds budgeted in 2024 in Fund 401 for the northeast parking lot in the amount of $421,083 and reprogram funds budgeted in 2025 in Fund 101 for the Freedom parking lot in the amount of $192,846 and the necessary budget amendment.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Treasurer Slavens. Engineering Services is requesting a purchase order in the amount of $1,313,928.29 to Fonzone Company Incorporated. This includes a bid price of $1,251,360.28, plus a $62,568.01 contingency, 5%. This project includes paving, grading, stormwater, and security improvements to the Heritage Park Maintenance Facility as directed by the Capital Improvement Program. Director Norwood, do you want to add anything?
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. I don't have anything to add, other than this has been, the process of getting to this point has been a joint effort with Leisure Services and with Finance helping us, as you heard through the motion. There's a lot of moving pieces to this financially, too. But I'm happy to answer any questions.
This is also because of a storm. I know it wasn't in the executive summary, but it's also because of a stormwater pond that serves a facility and needs to function correctly.
Correct, yes.
Any questions or comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. G4, consider approval of the purchase of 4 2025 Ford Explorer patrol vehicles for police services.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the purchase of 4 2025 Ford Explorers in the amount of $201,204 from Lungheimer Ford.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Treasurer Slavens. Police Services has 4 patrol vehicles that are due for replacement. Fleet Services has evaluated all 4 vehicles and determined that they meet the criteria for replacement according to Fleet Replacement Policy PW 607. If approved, they will be replaced with 4 2025 Ford Explorer patrol vehicles. The township will utilize State of Michigan and Macomb County contract pricing received from Lungheimer Ford of Owasso to purchase all 4 vehicles. The vehicles that are proposed to be purchased have all been evaluated for their compatibility with alternative fueling sources, include electric and hybrid. It should be noted that none of these police vehicles will be electric or hybrid models due to the limited availability from Ford Motor Company at this time. The total cost of 4 2025 Ford Explorer patrol vehicles is $201,204. Chief Chad or Director Norman, do you want to add anything?
Director Norwood's staff's been critical of making sure we find vehicles over the last 4 years. Things have changed in this arena, so being able to find cars and have the replacement schedule on schedule is real important for
Yeah, we're having a hard time hearing on that one. Is that one? I think that's one of those. Just to let you know. Director Norwood, do you want to add anything?
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. I don't have anything to add other than the chief. Chief is correct. It's been challenging on getting certain vehicles for the police department over the last several years. So,
Any questions or comments from the board? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item G5, consider approval of the purchase of 1 2025 Ford Transit and 1 2024 Ford F-250 for Public Works.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the purchase of 1 2024 Ford F-250 and 1 2025 Ford Transit as quoted from Gorno Ford from Public Works in the amount of $123,168.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Brunzinski. Public Works has a 2012 GMC Sierra 2500 pickup truck and a 2015 Chevrolet Express mini cargo van that are due for replacement. Fleet has evaluated both vehicles and determined that they meet the criteria for replacement according to Fleet Replacement Policy PW 607, as they are both 10-plus years old and have poor physical appearance condition. The 2015 Chevy Express also does not fit the needs of the department due to its small size. Public Works has determined that a 2024 Ford F-250 pickup truck and a 2025 Ford Transit cargo van are the preferred replacements. The cost of a 24 Ford F-250 is quoted as $57,175. The quoted 2024 F-250 is from dealership stock and is a new vehicle. A 2024 model year was selected because the same pickup truck in a 25 model year is not offered by Ford with the 6.5-foot bed length that Public Works would prefer for this vehicle. The cost of a 25 Ford Transit is quoted as $65,993. Total cost for both vehicles is $123,168. The township will utilize the My Deal contract pricing, as listed, received from Gorno Ford to purchase both vehicles. The vehicles that are proposed to be purchased have been evaluated for alternative fueling sources, including electric. It should be noted that these vehicles will not be hybrid or electric models due to the limited availability of fully electric vehicles or hybrid vehicles at this time. So let me see. Director Norwood, do you want to add anything?
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. I don't have anything to add at this point, but happy to answer any questions.
Questions or comment? Amara?
Thank you so much, Director Norwood. I'm curious, what are these trucks actually used for within Public Works? What is the purpose of them?
Well, they're to go to job sites when we have water main breaks and to carry some equipment and also carry staff. The van, I believe, is going to be used for equipment for we have a new underground boring machine that'll support that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item G6, consider authorization of a purchase order to the Manikin Smith Group for professional engineering services for the 25 water main CIP.
Madam Supervisor, I move to authorize a purchase order in the amount of $56,100 to the Manikin Smith Group for professional engineering services for the 2025 Water Main Capital Improvement Plan.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Brunzinski. As part of the ongoing effort to improve the public water system and provide better pressure, reliability, and service, Municipal Services has identified Ridge Road from Joy to Guide as an important gap in our water system that needs to be filled. To begin the project, Engineering Services is requesting a purchase order in the amount of $56,100 for the Manikin Smith Group to complete professional engineering design for the 25 Water Main Capital Improvement Plan for the water main installation on Ridge Road. Director Norwood, do you want to add anything?
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. I don't have anything to add, but happy to answer any questions.
Questions or comments from the board? Okay,
Yeah, so it says that in our summary that this is an identified gap in our water system. And could you just explain how it benefits the township to fix this gap?
So as development happens in the township, we're always looking for making sure that we have many different ways to get water to all parts of the township. So if something should break and there's no, it's not looped, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So this will help loop the system. Also, when we have any pressure issues, we can use different parts of the system to moderate the pressure because we don't want too high or too low pressure. This will help with that.
Thank you.
any other questions or comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. G7, consider awarding Phase 3 Food Waste Compost Pilot Program to Michigan Consulting and Environmental for project management and staffing services.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve a purchase order in the amount not to exceed $105,000 to Michigan Consulting and Environment to provide support, staffing, and training for the 2025 Food Composting Program Phase 3.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Ansari. As a result of the May 17, 2022 Board of Trustees study session on food composting, a pilot program to test the interest of Canton Township residents was proposed. To date, the pilot program has diverted over 300,000 pounds of food waste from the landfill. We should put a little icon on our website showing that. Phase 3 of the pilot program will allow the township to engage more residents and increase participation in food composting. The primary goal of the pilot program is to offer another recycling opportunity, encourage recycling behavior in Canton, and promote a more sustainable community. To successfully manage this pilot program, it is a desire to partner once again with Michigan Consulting and Environmental, or MCE. MCE has been proud to provide a variety of environmental services to its customers and municipal partners for nearly 30 years. Their experienced engineers, project managers, geologists, and technicians have provided solid waste management, monitoring, and consulting services for the city of Livonia, Westland, Gratiot County, Central Wayne County Sanitation Authority, Huron-Montefiore and Flat Rock, and the Greater Detroit Resource Recovery Authority. For Phase 3, MCE will assist Canton Township in expanding the current food waste composting program. Residents can opt in, receive a household bin, and send their food waste to a composting facility. The long-term goal is for food waste composting to become a standard for township residents and continue to divert a higher volume of food waste from landfills. MCE understands the township's solid waste challenges and looks forward to assisting Canton Township in its land diversion efforts. An amount not to exceed $105,000 is requested for MCE services. Director Norwood, do you want to add anything?
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. We're excited to once again do this year. The expansion, we're looking at other drop-off sites. We're also going to be offering more folks to be involved in the program where we have limited in the past based upon the containers we have. People are now doing it without the containers, doing it on our own. So we look to expand it through working with the Communications Department, take more people on. So that's our plan this year.
I know somebody had asked me about a facility in the northwest corner of Canton. I know we'd gone to the schools, but they didn't have any room, so they had suggested asking some of the churches up there. Just, I don't know if we've
We
thought
can do
about
that. Okay. Sure.
Can I make a point of clarification? The support, I believe, was offered by Trustee Ganguly, not Ansari.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, not you? Okay, I'm
All
sorry.
right. I
I'll
just
tell
wanted
you.
to clarify that because it's going in the minutes, but you said
Ever
Ansari.
since Stephen left, I get a different echo now.
Yeah, okay.
That male voice is missing. Sorry,
You have more
Tanya.
women's voices now?
But unrelated to who seconded the motion, can you give me is there a very simple explanation of what specifically Michigan Consulting and Environmental provides?
So there's no township staff involved in, other than communications, with monitoring the bins, collecting the bins, or keeping track of the data. We also get a weekly report from what's picked up, what's not picked up, the condition of the cans throughout all the different drop-off sites in the township.
Okay.
They have also assisted us on writing grants to go after other funds to beef up the program too.
Excellent. Thank you.
Summer?
Just a comment. I'm glad that we are continuing to grow and expand and invest in this program. I think it's important for the community and for our goals around sustainability.
Kate?
Yeah, do we have a goal in mind for how many people we would like to participate? I mean, eventually, I hope it would be everyone, but it has been pretty limited to several hundred people, so.
We're
we
up
have a
to almost 1,000 now. So the goal is to have every township resident have an opportunity to participate in the program. But we put it out there, and not everybody has said they want to participate. So, but the idea is to show the success of it and how easy it is to do. So we're not at this point ready to do curbside pickup. We already have 3 trucks going through every week. I'm not sure we need to add a fourth truck. Maybe technology will catch up and a truck can do two things at once. But right now, we don't have that technology to provide that service.
Right. Well, more than 1,000 then, I guess, is a small
We'd like to
goal.
get 1,500 this year
Okay.
would be success.
Yeah, and I think it's great that we're continuing this program because it does keep a lot of waste out of the landfill, which, you know, as we all know, it's getting pretty full.
Yes.
Tanya?
So, Director Norwood, any plans for like business owners doing this or an opportunity for them?
Yes. Business owners are a little bit challenging because the funding that's done for this comes out of our residential trash fees. So businesses we don't charge them for this right now. So we may have to come up with some type of fee base to get the businesses involved. Though I am familiar with some of the larger businesses in town actually do already food waste composting on their own.
Sustainability Committee is actually going to be working with creating like an incentive for businesses and awards for those that are most sustainable, you know, and one of this is one of the items. And we should probably meet with Priority or some of the others, GFL and Waste Management, to encourage them to provide this service for businesses.
Well, I do believe, now I'm relying on my memory, but I feel like I had a conversation with a representative from the Cherry Hill Temple, and they had talked about an interest in participating as a group, but I didn't even know how to start with that because I was like, I don't even get to participate. I'm not a participant.
Yeah, they can just, we can give them the name of the company and they could contact them and create a contract with them. Another change that we made slightly is because at the end of the year in the springtime, they take it and they create fertilizer and they bring it back to the community. Well, what happened last year is we ran out quickly because people were backing up trucks and filling flatbeds and stuff like that. So we're going to limit that a little bit so that everybody who participates can get a bucket full of fertilizer.
The finished product, yeah.
Yeah, right. So
That is another benefit too, I should have mentioned. We get quite several yards of it, so.
all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item G8, consider approval to enter into new 3-year contract with ESRI.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve a 3-year agreement with ESRI or ESRI for an amount not to exceed $71,750 per year.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Segris, supported by Trustee Ganguly. Canton Township uses Environmental Systems Research Institute, ESRI, GIS software for mapping and documentation needs across departments like police, fire, planning, engineering, public works, and leisure services. This software integrates with several critical applications and supports daily operations. The current 3-year contract signed in 2022 ends in March 2025. We're requesting approval to sign a new 3-year contract for a total amount not to exceed $216,000. Yes, this is Director Begbu. Do you want to add anything?
No, really, but I can take questions.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. G9, consider approval to award bid for plant protectants at Pheasant Run Golf Club and Parks.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the purchase of plant protectants and fertilizers for the Pheasant Run Golf Club and Parks divisions for a total amount of $108,960.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Brunzinski. In December 2024, the Leisure Services Department advertised an invitation to bid for the purchase of plant protectants and fertilizers. As a result, 7 companies submitted a bid, with 4 companies providing the lowest bids for specific products. The Leisure Services Department is recommending approving a purchase order to Site One Landscape Supply for a total cost of $10,077. Target Specialty Products for a total cost of $29,352, Advanced Turf Solutions for a total cost of $28,986, and Nutrient for a total cost of $40,545. The total purchase order amount will total $108,960. Director Holmberger, do you want to add anything?
Nothing to add. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions or comments? Kate?
Yeah, I want to thank Director Hohenberger for answering some questions on this that I had. It was hard for me to figure out the pricing because what they ended up doing is actually taking the lowest bids on specific products from each of the bidders. So there, you'll see, I mean, we have several different vendors that are sourced for this.
So you're all straight now, then? Can I have a motion to approve? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. All those opposed, say nay. All right, motion passes. G10, consider approval to accept the out-of-school time OST learning grant.
Madam Supervisor, I move to not only approve the budget amendment, and I also move to accept the out-of-school time learning grant of $91,680 to be used toward new and expanded recreational programming in 2025.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Foster. In the fall of '24, Canton Leisure Services, with the help of the Finance Department, applied to the Michigan Department of Education's 24 through 25 out-of-school time learning grant. In December, Canton was notified it was eligible to receive $91,680 in grant funding to expand programs and services for out-of-school programs. Canton's recreation team will use these funds for new programming such as the Youth Service Squad and expand current services for Teen Experience Camp, Junior Outdoor Explorers, Hazel and Beyond, one-on-one therapy services, summer camp scholarships, and more. The funds are to be spent by December 25. Community Development is recommending accepting the out-of-school learning grant for $91,680. A budget amendment is necessary. Director Lefevre, do you want to add anything?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to, I just wanted to give some credit where credit is due. This is the second year that we've received this grant. Last year, staff applied for this grant and received over $84,000. This is a direct result. Grants are often a result of staff kind of going above and beyond their regular duties. This grant is something that staff identified and went after on their own, out of their own passion for their program and wanting to advance the programs for a lot of our outreach participants who can't afford the programs on their own. Many of you know our staff that run the Block Youth and Teen Center, Chelsea Straub. I'd like to mention her specifically, so if you see her, please thank her and congratulate her for her efforts with this one. It's not often we get to identify and congratulate staff individually. So she worked very hard on this. She's very proud of it, although she would be very embarrassed if she were here tonight that I was mentioning her. But it's nice when staff go out of their way to secure funds and help us offset subsidies for our programs. So very proud of her and her leadership to secure these funds for us.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
So I was really excited to see this on the agenda. And so, you know, for me and for the folks who are curious about these programs, who have never engaged in these programs, could you share some more insight as to how they benefit the community or some of the impacts of these programs on our youth?
Yeah, so a lot of times, for most of the programs related to this specific grant, what we do is we will hold, so we have scholarships for a lot of our summer camp programs. So for several of our day camp programs that run for certain weeks throughout the summer, we'll set aside camper spots, participant spots within those camps for kids who may not be able to afford it or kids who reside in certain neighborhoods that we've identified as outreach programs. They may be neighborhoods that are designated as Section 8 housing, other neighborhoods that we've gone through with other grant programs in the past. We also have kids who apply for scholarships based on income and different circumstances. So this grant helps cover and offset those expenses for us. Staff have also created different programs. So like the Teen Experience is a camp program designed specifically to give teens different experiences that they may not have had otherwise, such as camping and outdoor experiences. So kids who may not have been able to get out and go kayaking per se, or go hiking or camping. So they'll actually go out that week of that camp experience and get to do those things. So the grant funds are used to purchase some of those supplies so that they don't have to purchase them themselves and have those. So there's a number of programs. There's Hazel and Beyond, which is we partner with a local coffee shop, and participants in that program actually learn job skills and how to work in a coffee shop and learn skills that a barista would know, and a local coffee shop helps train participants through our therapeutic program and through our block program how to do that, and then actually receive a stipend by participating in that program. And so not only are they gaining job skills, but they're getting a small stipend for working in that, in that environment. So, they learn some transferable skills. So it's just a variety of programs. It's amazing what staff are able to squeeze out of $84,000 and $90,000. So if they were here, they could probably go on for a number of the programs that are offered. I'd be happy to actually forward the program descriptions to you. The staff did a great job of kind of breaking down each program. So very proud of them. It's a very cool program, and they asked for a lot more money this year because they had so much success last year, and they went to the summary meeting with all the other recipients, and they realized how much more money the other programs got, and they felt like they should have gotten a lot more for the programs they offered. So they asked for more, they got a little bit more this year, and they're hoping to continue to keep asking for more in the future, so.
Thank you. I would love to see the program description.
Yeah, be happy to share that.
Would also love to nerd out on some of the numbers on this, like how many kids this impacted,
Yeah.
or how many youth and family members this impacted, so that, when I'm talking about these programs in the community, right, I can have those numbers ready and share the great work that you folks are doing, so.
Yeah, for sure. Very good, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Great. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item G11, consider approving a resolution to adopt the Michigan Emergency Management Assistance Compact with Fire.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the Michigan Emergency Management Assistance Compact and the resolution accepting this agreement with Canton Supervisor Anne Marie Graham-Hudek as signature representative for the township.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Brzezinski. Adopting the Michigan Emergency Management Assistance Compact, MEMAC, would allow the township to participate in mutual aid in the event of a catastrophe or major disaster where existing mutual aid agreements have been exhausted. The MEMAC is designed to help governmental units share vital public safety and resources such as personnel and equipment more effectively and efficiently. Neither the state nor any local jurisdiction can afford to acquire and maintain all the manpower, equipment, and other resources that would be necessary to respond to every possible emergency or major disaster. MEMAC creates an organized process and structure spelled out in advance for jurisdictions large and small across the state to render or receive assistance in times of crisis. It addresses problematic issues concerning workmen's compensation insurance, expense reimbursement, and liability coverage before assistance is needed and requested. Let's see, Director Stockline, do you want to add anything?
I would just add that this is another layer of protection for us above and beyond the police and fire mutual aids. This kind of incorporates everything in the township, such as DPW and their services. So if we need plow trucks, or if we need generators, or if we need an airplane, for an example, this is a route for us to get that equipment.
Questions or comments? Great, thank you. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Now we move on to additional public comments. Are there additional public comments in the room? You would like to just step up and give your name and where you live, please?
Good evening. My name is Vaughn Nguyen. Well, Vaughn Middlestat, but Madam Supervisor knows me as Vaughn Nguyen from a few months ago when we saw each other. So I am in the subdivision of Covington Square. Thank you for the opportunity to bring awareness to a residential issue regarding solar energy. Our HOA has been in contact with a company named Clean Grid Development, which is under contract with Sincarfa Solar to lease a 2-acre section of our field in Covington Square off Lily and Cherry Hill to develop lithium battery storage to store excess energy from DTE during off-peak times and release during high-demand periods. While lithium batteries are widely celebrated for their efficiency and longevity, it's crucial to recognize the potential risks they pose when placed in close proximity to residential properties. One of the most pressing concerns is safety. Lithium batteries can be volatile. They have a risk of overheating, catching fire, or even exploding under certain conditions. While this event may be rare, there's always a potential, and the type of suppression isn't water. This puts immense pressure on our local emergency services to stay up to date on handling chemical and battery fires. Furthermore, the environmental implications should not be overlooked. Improper disposal of lithium batteries contributes to hazardous waste, which can leach toxic chemicals into our soil and waterways, which technically this 2-acre parcel of land is a wetland, which could be posing a long-term threat to our health and ecosystem if not managed properly. We must also consider the aesthetic impact of our neighborhoods. The presence of large battery storage units may diminish the small piece of green space we have around this area. We as a neighborhood must cast our vote by February 15th to move forward with conversations with Clean Grid with majority rules. I am unsure what the protocol for these development groups are when interested in developing within communities like ours. For example, when do they contact the community planner? Do they have a strategic conversation with our fire department for an emergency preparedness plan? And obviously, does it go in front of the trustees for vote, even if the majority of HOA residents says yes to proceeding with conversations with Clean Grid and its monetary incentives to lease our land? In conclusion, while the push for renewable energy and the use of lithium batteries is vital for our future, we must prioritize the safety, environmental health, and quality of life in our neighborhoods. I have brought this up to Patrick Sloan via email per Trustee Ganguly, and I wanted to bring it to tonight's leadership team. So it's essential for us to engage in conversations about responsible placement and management of these units so that we ensure our community remains safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Norwood, I think, if Director Norwood's right there, who Patrick works for. You can speak to him at the end of the meeting.
I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just making this whole team aware, just in case when they come, that y'all know that name. That's all. There's nothing much I can do at this point, because if majority rules and they want to proceed forward, I'm not on the board of my HOA. So I just wanted the wider team to know what's going on in town. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, please.
Michael Schultz. I was kind of sad. 2 or 3 meetings ago, they talked about all the retirees that kind of got, I don't know, it was a short shrift or whatever happened, but when people work for this township and retire, they deserve a fair shake. I realize money's tight, but Canton's going to ship out $20 million to all these other communities that don't have any money for this RISA deal. That's a lot of money. I'm sorry that people don't understand that that money that was voted for doesn't stay here. I don't mind taking care of this community, but every other community benefits from us. $20 million is a lot of money, and think about $1 or $2 million, what that could do for these retirees. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room? I don't have anyone online either, so that concludes public comments. Now we move on to administrative comments. We'll start. Victor, do you have anything? Thank you. Rochelle?
I don't have any additional comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief?
Yes.
Chief, could you
Sorry,
please get
Chief.
closer? I think you have one of those microphones you basically have to put your face on. Yeah.
Important. Here we go. Two events that have happened most recently, Open Door Ministry, we handed out some coats on January 16th to those in need. And I just want to make the community aware, on February 4th, Raising Cane is opening at Ford and Sheldon. We're working with township staff and the business to make sure it's as safe as possible, but we expect some traffic issues. So just so you know, for about a week, we're hoping this should resolve.
Thank you. John?
Nothing further to add?
Greg? No. Wendy? No. Chief? The chief? Dave?
I have to mention, Aaron from planning wanted me to make sure I mention this, that since the first week that you made the master plan public, there's been 289 users have downloaded the master plan 659 times. So more community engagement.
Great. Thank you. Oh, Deputy Supervisor. Amara, do you have anything you want to talk about? I shouldn't have started with Amara.
It's like trying to fill words where they're not there.
It's okay.
But, we have heard a lot about recent executive orders coming from the federal government. And there are questions as to what sort of implications they have in terms of funding within our own communities, public safety, lots of things to consider. And there aren't too many answers at this point. I know that there are residents who have come up to me and asked me questions, well, what do we do now? And my answer is, I don't know yet. There is going to be a webinar hosted by the Michigan Townships Authority that I'll be attending, and that is going to give a little more insight, but I just want folks to know that this is something that we're working on, is to figure out how it will look like to work with a new administration. And every administration goes through this process, but just wanted to emphasize that this is a somewhat unique situation, and that we do want to make sure that we're prioritizing the needs of our residents in Canton first.
Thank you. Kate?
Just want to make sure that everyone is staying warm. I understand there's going to be another cold snap, so just be aware and drive safely too.
Diane?
Just a quick reminder, taxes are due February 14th, so that's coming up. I can't believe we're at the end of January already.
Yeah.
And I agree, it's going to get cold again, so if people can make sure that their neighbors are okay, their elderly neighbors, just check on them. Thank you.
The clerk's office is still in mourning over the Lions' loss.
You have the black flag hung there or something? Summer?
I have nothing to add, but I agree with Trustee Borninski. I hope everyone stays warm.
Tanya?
No, I don't have much to add, but I agree with Trustee Ansari that, we are still figuring out what the implications of the new executive orders means, and people have come up to me with questions too. And we just want to make sure our community gets the necessary amenities. We want to keep our community members safe and, make sure that Canton remains a welcoming community.
Okay, nothing else. Just like, as everybody said, also watch out for the ice, because a couple people have fallen, with the temperature going up and down, you get a lot of ice buildup, so a couple people have fallen, be careful with that. And also snow shoveling, you don't think it's that, but my husband threw his back out, he's been having a hard time so that can happen too. Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Seegers, supported by Trustee Ganguly and Trustee Foster. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Good night.